The views expressed are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of the Team Sock Passe podcasts or their respective affiliates or sponsors. This episode is sponsored by LS Cream, the perfect blend of spices and tradition inspired by Haitian cremas. Please drink responsibly.
Sock Passe, what's up, world? Welcome to another episode of the Team Sock Passe podcast. My name is Glad.
And I'm your boy, Rob. We are your favorite Team Sock Passe podcast show where we interview great entrepreneurs from all sectors of industry. Remember, subscribe, share, comment below. Remember, subscribe. Please comment. Please share. Glad. What's going on tonight, man?
Woo, I'm already sweating, bro. It's hot in here.
Yeah.
This is going to be a hot topic. It's going to be a hot topic, man. We've got the ladies from the Stacked After Hours spot, Miss Sunshine and Miss Natalie. What's up, ladies? How you doing?
Welcome.
We got a live audience,
Yeah.
guys. Clap for a little bit. We got a
Yes,
live
yes.
audience. We're talking about relationships and entrepreneurship.
Ooh, Lord.
Lord.
Here we go.
Yes.
Now, we met these ladies at a pop-up event.
Correct.
Earlier this year, and they were talking about relationships. This is what they do, and we thought this would be great to bring them on the show to, continue the conversation, because we've interviewed a lot of successful people on our episodes from all sectors of industry, and a lot of times we've talked about relationships and how do they balance their relationships with their success as an entrepreneur. So we're gonna have that conversation today. Ladies,
Yes, sir.
y'all on the hot seat.
Welcome.
Yes.
Don't be shy.
We are not.
I
We are
know
not
they're
shy
not. Rob,
at
they're
all.
not. They're not
They're
shy.
not.
They're
They're
not
not.
shy.
I know. They're not.
You guys had the LS Cream. Did you taste it? What'd you think?
Shot. You know what? I had to take a mini shot. 'cause
What'd you
I'm a
think of it?
lightweight. It
Yeah.
was good.
Good,
It was
good.
really smooth.
Yeah.
I could put in my coffee.
Yes.
No doubt.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the audience, too, there's some, refreshments in the back you guys can taste.
For
as
sure.
well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Shout out LS
Not
Cream.
too much.
Yes.
So I guess we could first start off by talking a little bit about yourselves, please.
So I am Sunshine. I am her co-host for Stacked After Hours. I'm not saying that we're here to tell you how to be in a successful relationship, but what we do is just talk about the things that we hear over and over, and it's our platform actually gives a great perspective from both men and women. Typically, women are thinking what we believe men are thinking, and men may say, oh, I think these women are thinking that. And we just actually open the door to talk to each other. So we're here to talk about entrepreneurship and relationships.
Yeah. I'm Natalie Cosby. I am also, this is my co-host and my thought partner. But I think with Stacked After Hours, we've just always tried to our audience pushes us to
Yes.
kind of expand the conversation. It can go from relationships to what's going on with you, so you can be better as you show up for your partner, or just for yourself, more importantly. So just really expanding the conversation I'm gonna say at a certain age, but I feel like we've started to even bring in a younger demographic to really talk about like what to expect, what not to do, and we're still learning as we host. Oh, that was a misstep, and so on and so
Yes,
forth.
yes.
So
Definitely learning a
Yep,
lot.
yep. And then we have a lot of people from all over the country, really having these conversations. So it's actually been fun and triggering and interesting and all the things that go with it. But
Yeah.
So how did y'all meet?
We met through a mutual friend of ours from Antigua.
Okay.
She introduced us, and we just kind of been hanging ever since. About a couple of 10 years ago.
I can't believe I said that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
about
been about
that,
10
yeah.
years.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think first I was like, I don't know if she likes me, but then I was like, I think she likes me, and now I know she loves me. And
I love her dearly.
We have just really formed a sisterhood that just really
Nice.
works. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
It's like good cop, bad cop.
Yes.
Who's the backup?
Okay.
My alter ego's name is Rashida. She already renamed me. So when she comes out, she's like, "I hate Rashida." But yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have other entrepreneurial
Endeavors,
other
yeah.
businesses outside of
Yes.
Stacked After Hours?
Yeah.
If so, please talk to us
Yeah,
about it.
so I currently have a day job, of course, but I do have a villa in Antigua.
Okay.
Villa Sunshine 268.
Oh, so okay.
It makes sense
So it
now.
makes sense.
And
now.
so I do like an Airbnb
Okay,
with it as
okay.
well. And then I do have like a flash fashion blog, Sunshine to Sunset,
Okay.
on all platforms. So follow the fashion for all the award show. And you'll check out the fashion from the Met Gala, the last Met Gala that just happened. So.
Nice.
Very nice.
And Stacked After Hours originally started from Stacked Yoga. I had a yoga studio in Bed-Stuy, and when I first did it, I was like, I don't really want a physical yoga space. I was a traveler, and I wanted to do retreats, and we do that as well. So that is my brand, and it is always about getting people of color into their wellness and what goes on the mat. What happens on the mat usually is also what's happening off the mat in our lives, and the stress and the things that we carry in life. So this Stacked After Hours was kind of just a natural progression of how we communicate and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Love
Okay.
it. Love it. Love it. So let's get to business.
All right, let's
You know,
go.
so I'm glad that you said that. Let's get to business, because of course entrepreneurship is about business, right? And then when you gave us the topic, it was just like entrepreneurship and relationships, and I'm like, Natalie, what does that mean?
Girl, let's get some talking points going.
And so as we thought about it, I was like, well, how is that different from someone in a job and relationships, right? Because entrepreneurship can be a job. But then after we started peeling back the layers, we're like, wait, are they in the beginning stages of entrepreneurship? Are they in the ending stages? Do they already get funding? Is it a dream? What is the various different stages of this entrepreneurship are we talking about when it comes to relationships? And then as we started thinking about the different stages, I was like, wait, if I met someone today and they were at the beginning stages and it's like, well, can you help me fund my business? I feel as a single woman, I may just be a little bit hesitant about saying, do I want to even get involved in that? And then I told you guys about the movie Acrimony. I don't know if anyone ever saw it. You know, unfortunately, it's a Tyler Perry movie, but it was where the husband had this dream that just never came through until the end, and the dream became a realization with another woman, right? So, and that's a true thing. That has happened, of course, before. So I just thought about those different stages and how I would interact with someone in the beginning stages of entrepreneurship.
I think there's even the way, even in courtship, right? And somebody approaches you and say, oh, you know, you always ask, well, what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur. It feels vague and like a veil. It's like, well, what do you really do? Like, what does that mean? And I think especially I think during COVID, everybody became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Like whether you were selling like Gucci purses or whatever you were doing, like there was some form of like, I got to get my hustle on. I think living in New York City, I think we've always had like a side hustle, but now it's like, okay, I'm really an entrepreneur. I'm putting my mind, my time, my energy into this. And so like legitimately when you hear that and you meet someone and you hear a brother says, I'm an entrepreneur, I'll be like, okay. Have you left your day job? Or
Is it
what
real?
does that mean?
Is it really happening?
What is this
Right.
really happening?
Right.
Like, are you looking for funding
Like,
or
what-
seed
yeah, like,
money?
what is that?
What is
Yeah.
going on? Like that intro point. Yeah, because you may be really feeling him or her, and it's just
Right.
like entrepreneur.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Natalie, because we were talking about what is the definition of an entrepreneur.
There's
now,
many stages to it.
Right, now.
There's definitely many
Yeah.
stages to it, for
Right.
sure.
A lot of people they have their 9 to 5s, and at night they take care of their entrepreneur. So so we have a lot of experiences. For me, yes, I've been married, I'm divorced, and with kids. Entrepreneur is not for anyone. It's not easy, and it's tough. Like
But
partner.
if you're meeting someone now, and how do you? And they ask you like, what do you do? Do you say I'm an entrepreneur?
No,
or?
I don't tell them.
Okay.
You don't tell them.
I don't tell them anything yet.
But
You
you know,
don't-
sisters are gonna ask like, "What you do?"
They-
Yeah, I mean, we want to.
I work.
You're at work. Okay, you have a
I
job.
work. I have a job. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
what. I don't lead into. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a podcast. I don't. That's like. I'm filling them out first. I got to fill them out.
Got it.
Because, nowadays you say entrepreneur. At my age, if I say I'm a rapper,
I mean,
no.
it's okay.
come on, let's keep it real. Come on. Come on, no. Our generation right now, if I said, I'm an aspiring rapper, I'm.
Aspiring is different than saying you're a rapper.
Rapper, producer.
Rapper, producer, I'm in the industry.
Okay, but I think
What kind-
that's something that happens all the time. I remember I used to work in the industry before I went into a regular job, and brothers would be like, "I'm a producer, I'm a rapper." I'd be like, "Ooh, okay, so who have you produced?" And then because I know you start to open up those doors, and people start kind of. I hate to say we calculate, but I think just
So women calculate.
We calculate.
They
Women
got to
period.
calculate it in their heads.
Women calculate, period.
100%.
right.
If you say you're in a certain industry, they're like, oh yeah, I said, let me Google that. Let me Google
And-
the title. Let me
Hey.
find.
But Rob, why don't you tell women that you're an entrepreneur from jump?
That's a great question.
Is
Damn.
it because you
I don't-
you got burnt before, or they treat you differently? I mean,
Yeah,
why not just
because-
keep it real from start?
I could keep it real from start, but sometimes I just feel like I don't want the person I'm talking to feel like I'm looking for a handout.
Okay.
Also, when you think a woman here, entrepreneur, you're thinking that she's already thinking, oh, he gonna ask me for a loan or something.
Yeah, that's
That's the vibe.
that's the
Got it.
yeah.
That's been your pattern.
That's
of-
been the pattern, and
Okay.
it's like I'm not asking for a handout, or sometimes it's like you're a business owner, and they automatically assume that you got a mansion, you got this,
Right,
you got
it's
that.
one or the other.
It's one or the other.
It's never something that
Yeah,
you're in
yeah.
between.
So
I
I've
got you.
learned to just shut your mouth, Rob, and just when that conversation starts, we'll get into it. But there's like Glad and I we're starting this podcast.
Right.
So there's time involved because women do need attention.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We do.
There's a lot of dedication to putting all of this together. And Glad
of
is
money.
Glad is married.
a lot of money.
I'm single. He's married.
Right.
Right.
So, and I was asking him earlier on, like, you said you're married for like a year and you had
I'll
this.
be a year in July.
And congratulations.
Bravo.
Thank you.
And you met her as you're an
I feel like
entrepreneur
this is a therapy
as well.
session.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a little bit.
No, what we
Glad.
want
My
to
hands
know,
all
like,
sweaty.
Yes,
how
yes.
does it?
He's
and-
scared, right?
Yeah.
He's scared.
Look as he drinks his cream.
Oh my God.
I'm drinking this little cream right now.
Bruh.
No, I'm just saying, like, and I did ask you, is she an entrepreneur as well? And you said no. So does it help that she's not an entrepreneur as well? And do you think that's a factor in how you guys balance each other?
That's a great question. I would say, however you look at it, we have to be intentional on making time for each other
Yeah.
because it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? She has a crazy schedule herself, working as a 9 to 5. She does have aspirations of becoming an entrepreneur, and I would definitely support her. But I mean, I think the way it's set up now, it definitely works for us. You know what I'm saying? It definitely works for us. But like I said, we're both intentional on making sure we spend time and make time for each other.
So,
because she met me in the beginning stages of becoming or starting my T-shirt business.
Right.
So, you know,
She met you selling T-shirts.
She met me selling T-shirts.
Did she buy one?
She bought many. Yeah.
Did she come back over and over and over? Like, I'm like, let me go see that brother.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, but she knew that I didn't have no mansion or whatever. She knew that it was what it was. Yeah, but
Have you ever dated an entrepreneur?
I've never dated an entrepreneur.
Have you
Have
dated
you?
it? Have you?
I've dated an entrepreneur. Yeah,
How was that?
that was tough.
What was tough about
What was
it?
tough? Yeah.
Because it's like it's trying to balance whose entrepreneurship is
Were y'all competing?
not really competing. It's like, well, I have a lot going on. You have a lot going on. How do we find time
Got you.
to kind of
Yeah.
like balance?
And that's a great question I want to ask you guys. Was with balancing in time, can you balance a relationship as an entrepreneur? And if so,
Yes.
how?
Yes.
You know what? My current partner was a independent contractor and an entrepreneur, and now he's back in his industry. It takes up hours of his time. I understand that. It was a little difficult at first because it was just like, when do we get to spend time together? And now that we live together, I feel like now we spend time, but it's really, we have to designate it. Like it is really, sometimes it's rough. It's just like, okay, can we just, but I was like, this is what he does. And this is, you understand who you are with, but you have to kind of have a continuous conversation. Like, we're also important, and that time is so key. And as you say, being intentional is one of the factors.
So, is there any time that you've ever said to him, "Enough is enough. I need you now"? Have you ever
I have
gotten that?
felt that way, but I've had the conversation when I knew I had it after. Like I still, because I was just like, he's let's say he works from 8 to sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night, right? So I was just like, we need a little bit more balance. We're becoming stale, and I was just like, and we have our date night, we have our weekends, we have certain things, but I was just like, I need you during the week. Just every now and then, just not when we go to bed or when we eat dinner. I just like, I need some us time, just a moment in the week. So we've started to carve that in, and so he's kind of been like, I need to get off, and he's just like, life, you look up and time is so fast. You just be like,
And I'm glad you're talking about this scenario because he's not an entrepreneur, but it sounds like his schedule is that of an entrepreneur.
well, he used to be an entrepreneur, and he's like, even as an entrepreneur, now that he's working in corporate takes more time from him than, because he's like, at least I could like take 3 months off and do this work.
Right.
Now it's like you're on call all the time.
And that's important that you said that, because the goal for me personally, like as an entrepreneur, like is for my freedom of time. So a lot of us feel that, I want to be an entrepreneur, and social media right now is showing all the great side of being an entrepreneur, but there's an ugly side to it as well. Because now, like for example, at least you guys are communicating about it. You're saying, look, I need this as a partner. So you have to, it's a balance. You have to, it's an understanding. You have to say, okay, you know what? Let me put this aside. It'll still be there. My partner needs that time. So
What do you think?
Do you think, as an entrepreneur, that because you can kind of halfway manage your schedule, I think that it's worse when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Like, you're more of a slave to the whatever it is that
The
you're trying to
grinds.
create.
Yeah, I
And
think it depends what
so-
stage you're at.
yeah.
Do you think so? Even the beginning, middle, and end? Because especially at the end, you're literally fighting to make sure that it stays on top.
I'll tell you what I've heard successful entrepreneurs tell us on the show. They said that there's no such thing as balance.
There's no such thing as what?
Balance.
Balance.
Because male or female, they'll say that they're so passionate about their
Right.
mission that most of the time they're away from their wife and their family.
Right.
But at the same time, they're intentional on trying to make that time to be present. But as an entrepreneur, they believe that there is no balance because you're just so in that moment of making sure that your business thrives.
Yeah, and to me, making sure that your business thrives, but then the partner also has to understand. All right, especially if you have like kids with, kids are
Yeah, I
involved,
was going to
Yeah.
ask about kids.
and you're
yeah.
out, and your partner has a 9 to 5, and let's say, for example, most of the time, she's handling the children and the home, and you're out 7 days a week. But in my eyes, I'm looking at it in the long run, where it's like, as an entrepreneur, I want to control my time. I don't want somebody else controlling my time. Like, I'm able to control the time. I'm able to say, you know what? I have systems in play. I have managers and other people that can control this for me, so I can step back and be involved with my family. And that, to me, as an entrepreneur, that's the goal to me, because you want your time back. Like, we always chasing the money, but to me, it's not the money. To me, I'm chasing freedom of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're 9 to 5. You literally you spend 2 hours in traveling, 10 hours, 12 hours. By the time you get home, and now you got to deal with kids. That was my situation. It's like, come on.
So the other aspect of entrepreneurship is like sometimes you have to dance with the enemy in order to get what you really want, right? And so I'm assuming that you're going to need to have a partner that's probably not insecure, because you're going to be dancing with people that may look beautiful, that may be of different,
Especially selling T-shirts.
especially selling T-shirts. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm fine. I'm sorry. Right.
Yes. Yes.
And so how do you balance that, whatever it is, your partner is feeling, like
clients.
getting, with clients,
clients
that
and
may look like
Partners.
Beyonce.
Right. Especially with two handsome gentlemen doing podcasts
Yes.
on a Friday night.
Yes.
You with those two?
You adding spice to it.
Exactly.
Oof, man.
It's called respecting boundaries.
Yeah, respect that.
That's what it's called.
You're not gonna get away with that.
What?
That easy.
What?
Let's just elaborate a little bit more.
As I take a sip of the
I'm hollering.
I mean, that's like, what did you call it? Playing with the enemy? I don't know.
Dancing with
With the enemy. I guess it's I would call it part of the territory.
Right.
But, but I don't know. That's the only way that I can say it. I would just call it respecting boundaries.
So sometimes you have to travel to another place to meet like business partners or whatever.
Yeah.
You end up on a beach somewhere.
But
That's your entrepreneurship.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to give credit
It could happen. I mean, you gotta advertise Villa Sunshine.
We do.
Here's a great example, right? We travel a lot with the podcast. Last year we went to Atlanta 3 times, I forget. My wife was there with me. We saw it as a way to spend time together, and she was being supportive, and it feels great as my wife. So that's why I say, like, in that sense, like, I'm really blessed. Like, I have a supportive partner next to me. She's not like, all right, you know what, you go ahead and go do your thing. But she's there with me, and she's like almost our admin with the podcast.
Right.
Because that's where we're not good at with some of that stuff. Like, a lot of the back end, I may be good with responding back to your text messages, but more of the admin stuff, she's really good with that, and she steps in and she helps us out with that. So I could say in that sense, it feels good that my partner's there with me, supporting me in my dream.
So next year we're going to Antigua for Sailing Week, and we need you to come to Antigua for a business meeting. we only have space for the both of y'all to come. Your wife can't come to this meeting.
You said
But
she can't come.
No.
I bet you she'll find 99 ways to make it.
I'm just
to come.
saying, like,
Knowing her, yeah.
it's a
That's not on the show. Sorry.
Let's keep
Go
the
ahead.
scenario, but go ahead. Say what?
Go ahead.
What?
Go
That's
with
scenario.
it.
I mean, you have to go. You're gonna go to see these people that's organizing the festival or whatever, and they need for you guys to come in and, have a deal for you or whatever. But it's just an overnight thing that you fly out for an overnight or a weekend and you come back,
Go ahead.
and there's only space for
The
you,
two of y'all.
the two of y'all.
I don't know. I'm going, but he's.
But
going,
it's for the it's a
No, it's tough.
it's a
tough.
job.
No, it's tough.
it's a request. It's a possible
It's a potential client.
client.
That could be big.
She'd let me go.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll let me go.
Okay.
Let him go, y'all. Y'all hear that? Let.
You know what I'm asking.
I know what you're asking.
See, that's it's tough though.
Because I know in a real life situation, like a partner could be like, you're going to go to Antigua? Like, somebody really told you that? Or you're going to go to Mexico, wherever it is that meeting is. There is a level of
I see what you're saying.
confidence in the partner that you need to choose that I'm thinking as an entrepreneur, you're going to need to have that sort of
But you don't think that's with women in
trust.
general?
Say that again?
You don't think that would be with women in general?
I agree. I think it would happen. I think anytime you're dealing with successful people and they travel a lot. I mean, shit, that could I'm sorry. That could happen in the regular
That's not the
workplace.
first minute.
I know. I'm like, damn. It could happen. That could happen anywhere. That could happen with it could happen in your workplace. It could happen when
Absolutely.
you're
You
traveling.
Right.
go to a
Like, I think
conference.
that is something, whether you are an entrepreneur or not, if you are away from your family a lot, life gets lonely.
100%.
And you could just slip and fall into things or on things. I'm not going to say slip and fall, but I'm just saying that,
Yeah. No, it happens because I know situations where I've dated and with the other person and they've asked questions. They've been in the room where they see other beautiful, successful women.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, like really? Like it's tough. It's tough. But in the back of my mind, because you're in the moment, you're like, I want to introduce you to this person, that person, and then
and they're like, hey,
hey,
hey, Rob. Okay, hey, Rob.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, but
And they
then
yeah.
I have to say hi. I have to keep the distance and say,
Rob,
this is
let
my
me
lady.
introduce you to the
That's what I
VP.
said.
Rob, do you remember
Google.
when we
That's
had
what I
you
said
in
earlier
class?
about.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier
Like,
about being respectful
it
and
happens.
keeping boundaries.
That's tough,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
That's tough.
Like
That's
it's
tough. Yeah, and it's
all of that stuff comes with the territory as far as being an entrepreneur. But
Right.
I just feel like, whether you're in a relationship or married, you got into the situation. It's a choice that you made to get into that situation with that person, and you don't want to hurt that person, right? And that person knows, like, they met you as an entrepreneur, so they already know the ground that you're on as far as being in these different type of arenas. So you've got to instill that trust where you got to give that respect and boundaries because they're allowing you to pursue your dreams.
So I think you hit the nail right on the head. And Natalie also mentioned perfectly that outside of an entrepreneur, you could, in your regular day job, you could go to a conference for a weekend. And that's, it's up to you to make your partner feel confident that you're not out there doing no foolishness.
But there's still, to me, a bit of insecurity at times for anyone.
Yeah, on both
regardless
sides.
if you,
Yeah.
there's always that what if, if they're out,
Here's a question for you guys. What are some non-negotiables? I mean, I think that when entering into a relationship, dating an entrepreneur, male or female, there should be certain non-negotiables coming into the situation. If you guys want to pursue something serious, what do you guys feel certain non-negotiables should be when entering a relationship with an entrepreneur?
So I'm going to speak for me. I think, you know, I think even us being on this podcast, there's a lot of attention that comes to us as women. It'll be like, are you not, you know, and I think you have to create a boundaries. I've been out with my partner before, and I've had men be a little bit disrespectful and just have to literally check folk at the door. Like, we ain't doing that, you know, or, you know, they get very touchy-feely. I think because I'm from the South, they think I'm just one of them Southern women. I'm like, we not doing that.
You up in Brooklyn.
So I really do understand, like, creating, you got to instill in your partner, like, he's looking at you in a way that is not appropriate. And I'm like, well, I can't check somebody's eyeballs, but I can, you know,
Right.
but I can create boundaries for us. And I think that's the thing. It's just like, I'm going to be working with him, and I want you to understand, and I want you to come and always be present. You may not always be present, but, you know, you reinforce by either if it's a phone call or text them, or just, it's just like the little things that you do to reassure that I'm thinking about you, but I am working.
Yes.
And it's a person that you see that has disrespected me in a space that probably wasn't cool, but this is an opportunity. And if he crosses the line, I can step away. There'll be other opportunities. But I feel like this could be a partnership that and I may have a conversation with them like, look, that can't happen
That
no
can
more.
happen.
You've seen my partner, you've met my partner. Don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. How do you feel like sometimes?
I mean, I've never had anybody come on to me because I'm still single.
She has men come on to her.
I'm kidding. I'm not experiencing that right now, but I understand when I am with, so when I was married before, and my ex-husband, I just have to say, I think he would just look at somebody and be like, okay, that guy likes you. And I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know what it is I'm giving off, but I guess they see something outside of what we're seeing and how men look at you or whatever it is. And so again, it's just back to the reassurance of, I'm not looking at them, I'm not checking for them, I am here with you, I'm going home with you, there's nothing that's going on. And I think in order to make me feel insecure is ignoring me completely. If I'm in a relationship with you and you just ignore me, or one word responses, or don't call, or we're not checking in with each other on a regular basis, to me that just means like you're not interested, and it gives me that feeling of insecurity.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think, that's the thing too. Like, regardless how busy you are
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur or just
In
a
general.
professional in general, like, if you really want to make time for that person, I mean, what's a text? You send a
Right,
text, hey,
right.
I'm thinking about you. I was thinking about you today. Hey, I'm busy. I'm
That's
heading.
that's the most precious thing to me. Somebody just texting and saying, I was thinking about you today. I'm busy, but I just wanted to tell you that. Bye. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it melts my heart, and it just makes me feel reassured that somebody's out there that is,
Yeah, I remember
Looking
one of
out.
my friends that he was in his residency as an oral surgeon at Harlem Hospital. He's like, let me tell you something. No man is ever too busy if he wants you.
True.
You know, nobody is ever, if they want you, they're going to make time for you no matter what.
Right.
So I think that's the thing. Entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, if you're super whatever, I do believe if that's where you want to be, you'll make time.
And, I could be a little sarcastic sometimes. I'm sorry. But if you're an entrepreneur and you ain't making no money,
Keep it
like,
real,
how
keep it
busy,
real.
How busy are you? Like,
Right.
what are you busy doing?
I guess trying to get the money.
I'm just
Right.
saying,
I
like,
Well, like you said, look, there's many stages to entrepreneurship,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
And so basically you're saying if you meet somebody you're attracted to, there's a good vibe, and he is on his way or he's on the grind stage of becoming an entrepreneur, you probably wouldn't pursue it any further.
I didn't say that. That's not.
Does he have to have
Let
a
me look
day
in the
job?
mirror. Let me look in the camera and say, I did not say that.
Okay.
I just think so most of the times when you start out as an entrepreneur, this is my general thinking. I'm not sure if anyone has any other thinking about what an entrepreneur is, but especially when you're starting out first, my thought process is that you don't quit your job and then you start the business. You stay in your job, you get your health care, you get your salary, whatever, and then you grind at night or off hours or whatever. If you're doing it on company time, I don't know nothing about that. But as it starts growing and you start making that decision as to whether you have enough now built that you can quit your job and then pursue that full time, and you're getting contracts and clients from different places, I think that's a very different thing than quitting your job and starting from scratch.
I agree.
You know, and I just think it's irresponsible for somebody to do that and then try to be in a relationship with someone.
I also think people
you
too
mean
have,
in the beginning.
In the beginning,
Right,
if you're
okay.
quitting your job and you want to just start off doing eyelashes in the kitchen,
But like if you have that strong partner and that supporting partner, and that partner says, I see how passionate you want this.
right? Well,
You
that's a
know,
different story.
right.
But if you're just quitting and then you're saying, I'm going to try to now get a girlfriend or a boyfriend,
Oh, no.
that's a little different, right?
Right.
it doesn't create any security.
Especially at my age,
Yeah.
like you what? You're selling eyelashes and you want to date me, like to me. I'm just.
But
saying,
I think the thing is like once you are dating that person and you know they're an entrepreneur and they want to quit their job and y'all are in
That's
y'all
a
are
different story.
I think that's the question. Like, how do you start to navigate that conversation
Right.
on lifestyle, especially living in life is America's expensive. Like it's so expensive, and just trying to figure that out.
I
think-
agree. I think everybody has a certain threshold.
Yeah.
And so that's one, the threshold, like how long am I going to support this person doing their business? And then two is when it gets to that point of it being successful, we need to have that conversation about, is it okay for you to quit and you to focus on this thing full time?
right.
Right.
And does it make sense? And
Does
is
it
it a
make sense?
sustainable business and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And then I'm glad you mentioned lifestyle.
But before we go there, but I think the other thing is it's just like I think the other thing is it's like if you're working your day job and whatever, and you also know that it's affecting your happiness. Like you can see that the person is stressed,
Yeah.
right? I don't think as Black people we talk about that enough. Like we are burning the candle at both ends and trying to make ends meet. And one of us, like we have this lifestyle that we're maintaining, but we could really put a little bit more time in this business if one of us with the bigger salary, and so we can
Balance it out.
balance it out and eventually move so we are working for ourselves. But like, where's the sacrifice in that?
But Natalie,
Powerful.
I agree with that, but I'm just thinking, we're talking about somebody that you're with for a while.
Right, but you could be with them for 6 months or a year, and you'll be like, this is my person. I don't think it takes us long to figure that out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm more talking about the stages of me.
In the beginning.
In the beginning,
Right.
meeting someone
Right.
for the first time. I'm
Right.
like, hey, Rob, what you do? You're an entrepreneur or whatever, you
Right,
know,
right,
the
right,
question is.
right.
And, you know, I just quit my job and I'm starting a business selling refrigerators. I don't know, whatever. I'm like, so have you ever sold refrigerators before? No. Well, what makes you think refrigerators are going to make money? You know, that's the type of person that I'm saying it would be irresponsible for them to even think about
Or what
dating.
if they ask you
To sell refrigerators?
No, not sell refrigerators. It's not even that.
Come on tour with me.
I think the thing is like
kidding.
people are in their industry, right? let's say they've been an entrepreneur and they're like, okay, I want to see this new business that is, let's say you have your Villa Sunshine, somebody has a jet ski business, right? They're like, okay, I've been making this money off this jet ski, I have this amount of money. They're dating you. They're like, y'all start to date.
That's a great combination.
Y'all start to
there.
date. Y'all start to date. He's still in the same industry. He's like, okay, I want to open up a rum bar on the beach that I know that could really such
That's
and
a
such.
good compliment.
But he's like, I need maybe $25,000 worth of seed money, and he knows you got it. Are you I think that's the question. Like, where are the boundaries? Where's the sacrifice? And when do you start to pull the whole vision?
She's like,
Sunshine ain't with it.
Word.
I'm saying, I
ain't
think
with
it's real.
like, not on my beach.
You been burnt before, Sunshine?
I'm just saying I've been asked to help fund these dreams.
And it was unattractive to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. So
It's not like I would never do it. I'm just
Right.
saying.
no, but you did you do it with a business plan, with the person giving you a
No,
business
I didn't
plan?
give the money.
Oh, okay. But they just asked.
Yeah, this is gonna sound really, really bad, but it was my father.
Was your father-in-law?
My father that asked me for.
And you said no?
He said, "Give me 10,000." I said, "Hell no."
That's your father.
That's a
my
whole
God.
nother podcast. I think.
Podcast.
Yo,
That's a whole nother podcast.
man.
And not only him, but other
No.
people as well too.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, where is the business plan? How is this
Right.
money gonna generate? Like, can you show me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I said to him. Can you show me like what's gonna happen with this $10,000?
Right.
How are we gonna make the money? Who's gonna do this? And it was like this off the cuff. Let's bring cold food. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all if y'all would, if anyone here would invest in that. Please tell me. I'm gonna bring a container from Florida to Antigua with food. Open the container and sell it.
Huh? Okay.
Open the
Yeah.
container.
Open the container.
When it gets to Antigua and then
Right
sell it.
there?
Yeah, right there.
At Customs?
Yes.
Okay.
And they want you to fund that, buy
want
all
you
the
to fund
food.
And I'm like, who's selling? And how are they gonna get the money? Oh, it's gonna be cash. I'm like,
No, yeah.
is anybody gonna invest?
Nah, probably.
Okay,
No,
good.
no.
So I know it sounds terrible that it's
That doesn't sound terrible now.
okay. See,
It doesn't sound terrible. But like I said, but I think the thing is, it's just like for you guys, for example, right? Like you guys, let's say you have an opportunity, and I think this happens all the time. You have an opportunity to like take this podcast to the next level, right? And the person you're dating, and sometimes I think when you start you're looking for investors, you start with your network. No, do you not?
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, it's just like, okay, well, let's say I know my girl makes whatever, a half a mil. She brings in that salary. I know she has such and such. I rarely ask her for things, but this could actually change the trajectory of our relationship. And as Black, I feel like this is also a Black man. It is somebody. Let me say this. Let me finish the point. As in Black love and relationships, it's always really interesting, like when we start to have these conversations around money. It gets real uncomfortable, and all those elements come into play. So when you start to have that conversation, and this can take y'all to the next level, but it is like a costly investment, and it's something y'all have never had before. How do you broach that?
You sit down at the dinner table and you tell them what the plan is.
And if she's just like, I don't know, does that throw a wrench
It doesn't throw a wrench. I mean, I don't think it throws a wrench. I mean, it's if they can't make it happen, that's fine. You just move on to the next person within your network. But
Do you hold on to that though?
it depends on every person is different. Past trauma, was that a raised hand? Oh,
She's like, I ain't touching that.
everybody has past traumas. Everybody deal with money differently, so that's different from every person. For me, I would approach my wife and say, this is the situation. This could take the podcast to the next level. And if she says, no, I can't do it, or I don't think it's beneficial to us to take that, to take that dip out the savings or what have you, then I'm like, okay, just go on and find out what the, next situation is. As an entrepreneur, that'd be my mindset.
Yeah. I
Some people will look
yeah.
at it, sorry, Rob, but look at it,
No, you good.
now she don't believe in me. Now that would cause resentment and all that. I see what you're saying, but for
Yeah.
me, Rob.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I guess from past experience, just it's a tough situation because, like Glass said, it causes resentment if the person says no, and now some investors, they become involved. They telling you what to do, how to run it, how to do this, it's the dynamics are just way too much.
So I have a different perspective based on what the scenario that Natalie just talked about. I'm making $500,000. The podcast is doing well. We're dating. And I see that, it needs, I hear you, I guess, in talking that, we just need like $25,000 to get it to the next level. And I have it sitting there. Why would you have to ask me? Why wouldn't I just say, can I offer you $25,000 or something? Would that help? You know what I mean?
I think the other thing is it's just like,
There you go.
how your partner is about money.
Right.
So I think the other thing is it's just like, if it's something that has not been offered, I think it still has to have a conversation.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%,
Absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think at this age, I think if we were a little younger, it may have been different because we're both, but people are established. And when they start to see, like, if they believe in you and they're like, okay, babe, what's next? Like, if they're involved in it and so on and so forth, and hopefully you're dating someone who is involved and supporting and
Right.
all
Supporting,
those other,
yes.
and knows the ins and outs. But that's not always the case.
Yes.
No.
Right?
100%.
So that's why I was just saying, like, I mean, my partner, he's just like, I want to get to a point where you could just do your podcast. I was like, babe, that's so sweet, but right now, like,
I want to travel first class.
there's those things. It's like,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
that thing. So it's
Yeah.
just like, that's why I think those conversations are always a little
Yeah, I think it's a matter of you got to know your partner.
100%.
You got to know, like, if she's out here, she knows every penny coming in, every penny going out, and she's all about that money, and it's got to be that conversation. You got to know your partner. There are times because money changes situations.
And people.
Now it's you got a question in the audience.
Let's give him the
I
mic.
thought you were giving the mic.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys. Is it on?
Joel, can you hear it? Okay.
Okay, I was going to ask you guys, do you think it is specific to the black community in particular or just entrepreneurs in general that I find that within our community, if you're quote unquote a sexy entrepreneur, like you're starting an exotic car rental business, you're kind of regarded much better than someone who says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out there and get 3 Mr. Softy trucks, and I'm going to be killing the game with the ice cream. Because I had a friend who actually started with an ice cream truck.
Okay.
Now he's in a Maybach. But when he started, everyone was looking at him like, ice cream trucks? Like, oh, that's corny. Whereas the guy who did the exotic car rental flopped in 6 months.
But
But
being
I
in a
find-
Maybach doesn't mean
No, but I mean,
success.
he's successful. Like he has a car.
Visually.
I'm saying visually from the beginning, people looked at him like, you're gonna sell ice cream, like. But he would hit up places like Coney Island, Orchard Beach, and maybe make $10,000 a day. So he like really was in it. He got 1 truck turned 4 trucks. He had other people. So it's like, but I felt like all the sisters were looking at him like, I would never date an ice cream truck guy. You know, whereas the guy who was starting the car business, everyone looked at him like, oh my God, like you had these, however the system
so
is
you
to
said
rent
He's gonna
cars.
put me in the
And
the,
I just
two-seater
felt like,
Bentley.
it's so,
right.
so it almost seems like even in our community, we stifle a person's ability to be an entrepreneur, because if I know I'm going to go into an industry or feel that's not as sexy to potentially women, can I do it? So do you guys agree with that, or what do you guys think about that?
I didn't know ice cream trucks were making $10,000 a day. Ice cream.
They add up.
I don't know, Malik. In the black community as opposed to other communities, I mean, it's the same as the topic we were talking about before. Is like, how much do you believe in your partner, and how much are you gonna support him? Do you believe? Did he convince you enough or show you a business plan that selling ice cream at $10,000 a day would yield, I don't know, whatever it is, at the end of the year?
I think it's the fabric of your partner. I
Yeah.
think it's like, who are they as in that journey, regardless. Like, if he can sell that ice cream, like if he's that dude that was that before he sold ice cream, cool. Like if he has a business, if he has that in him or she has that in them, we want to believe it, right?
Yes.
We truly, I think, Dima, especially as a black, as a woman who has a brother as a partner, I want to believe that he has the capacity and the wherewithal to make it happen. Now,
But
if it's something that I'm just like, babe, you've never done that, or it's something that's a little bit out of your whatever, we can try it, but you can't quit your day job yet. So we're going to be doing ice cream trucks on the week. If that's something you really want to do, let's go for it. But let's try to find some kind of whatever.
And especially if it's that type of person that almost every 6 months or every 3 months they change. And then now we want to sell a container of food. And then next
there's
we
always
want
the-
to sell ice cream. And then the other 6 months we want to sell T-shirts. You know, there is no stability in how their minds are thinking.
Right.
And that is something that would probably not generate too much support.
I believe in success has receipts, and whether it's a female entrepreneur or male entrepreneur, I think if you're showing the success with the receipts and you're bringing the receipts, whether it's an ice cream truck or an exotic car company, your partner will be
Yeah.
supporting you 100%.
Yep.
100%. What's on your mind, Rob?
What did I do?
If I pulled up, like I'll say, so you and I are the only single ones here, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. I got an ice cream company, like Malik said. First date, I pull up in an ice cream truck to your house, bells and all.
I'll be like, ooh, what flavor you got in there? You shop with food, I'm there.
Rob, they're calculating. Remember that.
Come on.
Nah,
I mean,
they're
now,
calculating.
well, listen,
I mean-
now I know it makes $10,000 a day. I'll be like, hey.
But let's say you don't know that on jump.
No.
You don't know that. I'm talking about, later on in the conversation, and you're like, wow, no one's ever picked me up in an ice cream truck. I'm Mr. Frosty, I'm Mr. Softy. I say, well, I got 12 of these. But, I mean, I'm going back to that. I remember there was a movie like that where LL Cool J was in it. This was back in the day, whatever. And he picked
Oh,
her up.
with Gabrielle.
Yeah, Gabrielle
Union.
Union,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
So I don't like nowadays the women. Oh
don't
my
think
God,
Uh-oh.
the women that
Uh-oh.
the women that I've come across.
So, like, you know what? I think it's the same thing. I mean, he is Chad Ochocinco, but I think he took his current wife to be to McDonald's.
I did hear that.
And, I mean, it was his McDonald's, but it was still McDonald's. And I think the thing is, it's just like,
You can't judge by that.
But I think our nature as women, we are gonna sometimes we'll be. I mean, it's Chad Ochoa. Now, if it was Rob or Glad,
I would think it was fun.
if he took you to McDonald's and got you a Happy Meal,
I don't eat McDonald's.
Exactly, I'm just
but I'm
saying.
saying, like, if he showed up in the Mr. Softy
right?
ice
But
cream truck, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Anthea,
I would not.
sunshine,
Sunshine.
sunshine.
Y'all swear I'm a snob. I'm not.
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Look, me and Rob. Sunshine.
Yeah.
That was a great
Sunshine.
question.
Yeah. Like,
No, I don't think so. I think it would be, I would think it was fun. I would think it's something like a test. You know how these guys try to test women all the time or whatever. I wouldn't be shaken by that.
Do you guys, talking about that, do you guys, the fact that you know, are entrepreneurs, do you guys test women? Wait, I'm not saying did you test the test to see, like, I want to take this further. When she figures out, like, oh, he is an entrepreneur. Oh, and he does have a day job. Oh, and da-da-da-da-da-da.
If you take her to Cheesecake Factory first, and then
You take her to, right.
and glad. Well, I had a first date at a coffee shop.
Okay.
That was
That's fair.
I've never done that before, and that was the best.
because you just talk.
It's like it's $15, $20 date.
Yep,
We had frap where we just talked,
yep.
and if it didn't go anywhere, then you know what I'm saying. But it's like I don't have to. It wasn't a test. It was just kind of like I just threw it out there.
Did it go anywhere?
It did.
Okay.
It was a great conversation.
Okay.
Great conversation,
I
and
think she mean, did you end up dating her?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's, you know, it's just, yes. I think it comes with. Now we did joke. She was like, "You lucky we're around the same age," because 10 years ago
Exactly.
it probably wouldn't have. But at the same time, like, you know, the mindset is different because that's not what we're looking for at a certain age. You know, like you gotta come in there and you a lot of people joke
Yeah.
like Cheesecake Factory, or you got to take them to the best steak dinner. You got to sustain that level.
So I'm going to give you a different perspective. I don't want to go on a first date to meet somebody and find out about them over an extravagant dinner. Because I am wasting my time too. I got to get dressed up. I got to put a nice outfit on. And then I'm going to go to figure out who you are over an extravagant dinner. Dinner is nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm not here for a free meal. I'm here to meet the person that's in front of me. So my thing is, let's talk on the phone first. Let's get to know who you are. Coffee is good. Then you figure out, oh, let's go on a date because we want to spend more time with each other. And then we'll do the extravagant date where I get dressed up and nice for you. But
Right.
I'm not doing all of that, and then I find out like you're a dud. Now I'm stuck with like a piece of steak in my mouth for the rest of the night, trying to listen to this guy talk
Pause.
about his
Yeah.
whatever.
So where was your first date with your partner?
I think we took a walk. We went to go have tacos, and I mean, we had talked on the phone. Actually, I met him on our show.
Really?
Part of the show was real quick. I was swiping through Bumble. I was like, this is the worst way to meet people. It is absolutely terrible. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna recruit these guys, and since we're in COVID, we can just do like a group date. Everybody can, whoever they're feeling. And so that's how I met him. I was like, okay, a couple months later, we went out on a date, and we went for a walk in Brooklyn. We went to the museum. We had tacos, and we just walked around. It was great. It was no pressure
Okay.
at all.
Glad.
I don't know about this whole dinner thing that people are doing on a first date to meet somebody. You're taking a chance that the person in front of you is interesting enough to keep your attention for the whole night.
Glad, what about you?
So, I met my wife at an event promoting shirts,
Okay.
and I didn't get her number.
You didn't.
No. 3 weeks later, we ended up bumping into each other at a smoothie spot, and we both gave each other a look like we met before, cause we dancing. So we exchanged numbers, and I said, "Look, I'm throwing a party. I'm doing a party, X amount of date. You know, this and such a date. If you want to come through, come through." I guess that was my test to see if she wanted to come through. She came through, and we hit it off ever since then.
I love it.
Yeah.
And where was your first date?
Our first date, I took her to the city to some happy hour spot. That's what it was.
I think first dates should be low stakes.
Very low.
They should
Yeah,
be
it was fun.
definitely
It was
low
just
stakes. It
fun.
should be fun. Like it should
Yeah.
not be all this pressure from either party.
Yeah.
Be cute, be comfortable, be yourself. Like if you're a fly girl, show up as a fly girl. If you're a fly dude or whatever, if you're casual, be who you are. Like
Yes.
this
I
whole
agree.
representative, I gotta get to. It's just way too much pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure.
There is, especially at this age. So, is there any questions from the audience? Ooh, Tyler, talk to the people.
Hey, I have a question. Before you were talking about support, especially supporting your man. What's your cutoff when potential isn't enough? When it comes to the point where you have to hit that fork in the road where you have to decide if this is something very tangible or if this is something that you have to cut your losses and assimilate to something else.
LS Cream, the perfect blend of spices and tradition inspired by Haitian cremas. Please drink responsibly.